Hi, today I'd like to talk to you about my safety course I've done over the year, and what I'll be doing in this video is showing you personal protective equipment, PPE, hazard recognition, and I think that is all. Another course I took was job place inspection. Thank you, Shad House, for letting us into the Inner Plus battery to film this beautiful video. Hi, let's talk about PPE and what it is meant for. What I'm wearing here are safety glasses. What safety glasses are meant for is to protect sparks from going in your eyes and acids from splashing into your eyes. And these are our ear protection, and they're used if you're in a loud environment with motors or any equipment what is loud. This is a hard hat. What it does is protects your head from if you run it into, like, bump it on something or something falls on your head. Now we'll talk about overalls. Overalls are used for they have the stripes so people can see you in the dark, and they are used to protect your body from acid and sparks, and they're also fire retardant so you won't light up on fire. These are what type of shoes? Steel toe boots. This is in case if you stub your toe, it won't hurt, or something falls on your toe, a piece of metal or an object falls on your foot, your foot won't get broken. Well, you're nodding your head. Now that we're safe and ready, we're gonna go tour the Inner Plus Oilfield battery and do hazard recognition and work safe inspection. Now we are at the battery and we look around and there's no leaks or flames or fires. Everything looks good. The flare stack is burning the H2S. There's no oil spill, none of the tanks are spilling oil.
Pardon me, repeat that?
None of the tanks are spilling oil or salt water. It looks like we have a safe workplace on the outside. Now let's go in a building. This is an H2S monitor. What it does is it makes sure that you are safe, and if there's an H2S level, it will start pinging and warning you that it is an unsafe area.
What is H2S?
It's a poisonous gas, and if you smell it, you are too late.
Yeah. These ones are forehead monitors, so they detect O2, LEL, and CO2 as well.
What is LEL?
Lower explosive limit. You need to be in the explosive range of methanol to light a fire, right? There's a range of percentage of methanol you need. So the monitor is going to go off at 10% of the lower explosive limit of methanol. So if it's going off at LEL, you're nowhere near it exploding, but it's warning you to get out early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look behind you, Carter. May not be a yellow binder, but it is.
Oh,
Yep. That's our MSD sliders. Well, basically all the chemicals we have here, and we've added in our own oil and water. It's kind of a new thing that we came up with. Just extra stuff. That's the bump station for them things. It bumps them every day. We bump them every day to make sure they're working right. And it's actually giving it a certain amount each one. So it's going to take it to 60, 20, 1.4% LEL, and 15% by volume O2. The oxygen deficiency is the other one we kind of worry about in buildings and stuff. Because there's heat sources, ignition sources that are using up the oxygen, like the propane heaters.
Yeah.
Right? They'll steal all the oxygen.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. We actually have a fancier one of them. That can just go at higher ranges. Which the batteries don't. It doesn't just go to higher ranges, and it doesn't get burned out as easy as that one when it's these big gas. But it's the same thing. Detecting the same for. I brought my air pack in if you want to put the air pack on.
Oh, perfect. Sure.
So we have to wear. We have to wear the air pack if we're over 10 ppm H2S, or if we're over 10% LEL, or any oxygen efficiency. This one is. These ones are nice and simple.
So Carter, what are you putting on right now?
This is basically if you're entering
A toxic atmosphere is what we call it.
or
High
smells
H2S.
like a tank, like a smells.
Yeah, if there's going to be something that could kill you in there or steal the oxygen. This guy.
Fit on the glasses.
You might want to take your glasses off.
Can't really see, but that's
See, gonna have to get used to wearing contacts.
Tuck your chin in first. Oh, I get the straps going. And then these guys start from the bottom. When you take a big breath, you probably can't get nothing. So this is just either more air or less air. It's not like breathing normal. And then when I shut it off, you're gonna hear a whistle. That means it's time you run out of air. So that means you're out of air and you gotta leave your workspace. So that's the same thing firefighters wear, except their bottles are heavier because they're rated for the heat. And then I think the masks are made out of something different, and I want to say they don't have rubber hoses. But it's essentially the same thing. It's just breathing air in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets exhausting to wear that. And imagine crawling through a tank with that on. Other stuff we have in the battery, we have permanent H2S and LEL detection. So every building has an H2S detector. The idea being two reasons. I mean, so we know we can walk in safely, basically.
Yeah.
And if there's a leak and no one's here, the H2S detection is one of the first things to pick it up because it's going to set off the H2S alarm and it'll call us. At 10 ppm H2S, it calls. At 20, it shuts down the battery.
Ooh.
As a protection system. And then there's also LELs doing the same thing. And then the really fancy one is the Fire Eyes. So these little guys, it's a little IR light, and if I haven't set it off ever, but a spark or a flash sets it off, and then it shuts down the battery because it thinks it's a fire.
Yeah.
We only have those in the buildings that have electric motors because there really shouldn't be any other ignition source other than an electric motor. Recently we've added a smoke detector, which we never had before in the electrical buildings. Same reason, just shuts off and calls us. And then the flare is kind of a new one. We have a flare detection that doesn't show up anywhere. I think no? I don't know where it shows up. But there is a flare detection, so if the flare goes out, it calls us too, because then we're not burning the H2S and we could be venting the H2S to you guys when you're near us again. So yeah, that'd be the safety stuff. Then there's high level shutdowns. So if the tanks get full, they're gonna shut down the battery to not spill. And these tanks actually they all overflow into each other too. So you have to fill all the tanks right to the top before it could ever come out. And then it would still have to fill up. This system is set up quite good. It'd have to fill all 6 tanks, and then it flows down another pipe, fills that tank, and then it flows to another pipe and fills that tank, and then it'd have to come at the top of the flare to actually spill. So by then I should have got called like 6 times or 8 times because
Yeah.
there's so many redundant alarms in the
Yeah.
setup. Yeah, I don't know what else there's for safety.
What this next picture is the lockbox, and what the lockbox is saying, let's say if like someone was in an oil tank cleaning it out, what a lockout means is you have to lock, like you have to shut all the equipment down and then put your lock onto this box so they know who's in the tank, and you have to keep your lock then, and when you're done your work, it's basically in case someone tried starting up the machinery on you and then it would kill you. So now every company, and not just the oil field, but everybody has a lockout system to be working on equipment or cleaning some type of tank or really doing anything. And if it's more than one person, like if you're in there with 2 people in a tank or doing something with a co-worker, you have to put their lock on there and yours. Thank you.
If there's an H2S alarm, that's when whichever building has the H2S alarm, that's where the blue light will be blinking. That's why each building has its own blue light.
Okay.
And then what, the red light?
The red light is just an alarm in the battery. So there'll be, on an H2S, there'll be the red and the blue. And then the horn goes off with the alarms and the H2S, just so you can hear it if you can't see it. And since we built the place, we actually added 2 more horns because we found that you couldn't hear, you're in there, you couldn't hear this horn, you're near the pumps, you can't hear any of the horns. So we've had to add horns. Yeah, signs, there's always going to be signage. Any building that's got high hearing, high noise levels, we post with the decibel reading. This one's nothing. Like, these are actually quite quiet pumps in reality compared to the Colgate thing, if you've ever been there, the big plunger pump.
Yeah.
Like 175 decibels. You can't even breathe in there, it's so loud. So if that one's going off, that blue light will be blinking,
Yeah.
telling you it's this building.
Yeah.
Lights worked out.
Nice.
So, the way these are set up
Yeah.
is these tanks aren't vented at all. It's a completely sealed system. That's why you normally don't smell H2S or other stuff here at all.
Yeah.
And so if the tank overfilled,
Yeah.
there's actually this pipe goes up inside and it goes within, I can't remember what it is, it's a few inches from the roof. So the liquid would actually fall into here and it would trip this high level switch.
Yeah.
And this is just a float.
Yeah.
It would lift the float, it would trip that guy, and that one is a full shutdown of the battery. It's a pile of money.
Yeah.
But so that's engineering failed,
Yeah.
right? So now you're down to PPE and knowledge. So I have learned to kind of tuck my head this way, right? But yeah, that's my headbanger. We talked about putting a pool noodle on it and stuff, and it still don't help.
Save from getting stitches, perhaps,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Shad showed us in this building the risks of electrical shock and what they've done so
If something went
you
wrong,
can't
touch
get
this.
shocked. But if you touch like the 3-phase way back to here, you would get grounded to this or what?
To the wall, the tin, the metal. Well, actually, what you do, everything metal is bonded to the ground, like actually grounded. So it's a better ground than you touching it. So it shouldn't want you. It wants the tin more than you. Yeah, electricity is weird.
What these signs are showing us that there's first aid inside this building, and there's an eyewash station, and the air pack is in this building. Also in the building is an AED machine. In this next picture is an oil well,
And what Shad was talking about was when they climb the oil wells, they need a safety harness in case they fall off. Shad was talking about in these buildings, mice will get in and you can get hantavirus. So that is another workplace risk. Thank you for watching this safety video on an oil field. Thank you.